I need to buy a Cajon pillow because I keep on putting a pillow, but the pillow's too big, and then it doesn't allow me to hit all panels of the Cajon. All right, let's see. So a quick tune-up here. Quick tune-up. All right, so I think I'm gonna do. I'm gonna keep going on with this project today of the project being that I'm gonna look at these three collections of notes. I'm gonna practice being able to go around this nodal point and build the collection of notes by interval and by naming the shape that I'm in, and as well as changing the shape that I'm looking at in my mind from that being nodal point number 6, the A, to being nodal point number 5, Mixolydian, to being nodal point number 1, the Ionian. So I'm going to continue with that project, and I want to keep trying to figure out the best way to name where I'm at. So I'm also thinking, like, I have the naming convention by coordinate system, like 7, 6, but I'm also thinking it would be good to name by relative position in the shape. So in other words, if this is shape number 1, and so but notice that every note is basically in the middle of two shapes, except for like rare cases, right? So and like this one might not be in the middle of two shapes right there, but everyone is like in the middle typically. So if I'm looking at that node, another way I can name the nodal point is I could say it's going to be on, fret 7, and it's on fret 7, and it's on the front end of shape number 1 and the back end of shape number 2. Or in other words, it's the Aeolian on shape number 7 on the front end of shape number 1, back end of shape number 2, right? And so I can name it by the intersection between the shapes, right? Intersect. It's in the intersect between shape 1, shape 2. So you could say it's on fret 7, intersect shape 1, shape 2, or the G shape, the G Ionian shape to the E Ionian shape, if you want to think about it from a cage system. So I'm just trying to think, and that, like, if I say it that way in my mind, that's more specific in terms of where I am in terms of the collection of notes. So it's like, oh yeah, okay, that nodal point is on the front of node of shape number 1, and it's on the back of shape number 2. So if I wanted to find it and I only know the shape from the top, I could try to count it down, right? So it's the Aeolian in the middle, right? So the Aeolian in the middle of these two shapes. This point is in the middle of those two shapes. So I'm thinking about something like that to try to name it as well. Fret 7, Aeolian between shape 1 and shape 2, right? And then if you were over here, like this Aeolian, it would be the Mixolydian in between shape number, this is shape number 5 and shape number 1, right? So it would be fret 7, we're looking at the fret 7 Mixolydian node located between fret 5 and 1. I mean between shape 5 and 1, right? So we're looking at fret 7 Mixolydian or nodal point 5 in the intersection between shape 5 and 1, right? Because shape 5 would be here and 1 would be here. So then I could count that out and say, okay, well, it's got to be that one. There's only going to be one nodal point that's in the middle, except if you're talking about the top and bottom string, right? Because then you have to determine if it's the top string or the bottom string or whatever. But that's a little bit more specific, which could also give you the more specifically the coordinate if you don't know the full shape, right? So in other words, if I'm in this shape, I would say the coordinate system would be 7, 5, right? 7, 5. If we don't know exactly where that is, I could say it's 7 in string. It's the coordinate of fret 7 and the D string, which give us nodal point 5, which happens to be an A, and then to be more specific, I can tell someone, look, it's in between. That nodal point is on fret 7 between shape number 1, shape number 5, and shape number 1, right? In other words, your main rock and roll shape is up here. It's on the back end of that shape, and it's on the front end of shape number 5, right? I don't know. I feel like that's worth exploring, so I might play with that a little bit. Anyways, let's warm up a bit. So what do I want to do to warm up? I don't know. I forgot what I was doing. I was thinking about yesterday. Something I was thinking about. Oh, I was trying to tap on the cajon this way. See, I'm not in the optimal sitting position. You know, so you can get my 2 fingers. I'm just basically tapping like this on the cajon, so you get that rattly sound. Sit more on the back of the cajon. Alright, I'm going to adjust my cajon seat a bit. If I adjust it this way, then that's actually interesting. Look at my other glasses. I need a cajon pillow. Okay. And then I can try, with this hand, I can try to mute pick by putting my wrist more up here. So I was trying to do like 1 pick here and then 2 fingers. So kind of sounds like a galloping horse, thirds, I guess. Can't really get an up pick as easy, like a full, because it's hard to mute with your wrist underneath. You can do it like 2 strings. So let's try some percussion. Trying to focus on muting the strings just to get my percussion practice. Alright. I'll get back to just normal work here. Let's see if I can do a quick joke. And then I'll get back into just counting out the intervals here. So let's see, what do I have on the joke today? Just a stupid joke, I think. Let's see. Alright. Quick joke practice. My coffee. Okay, being a rock star is all about maintaining delicate balance of being, quote, the bomb without actually bombing, right? It's a little difficult because you have to like be the bomb, but you can't actually bomb because being the bomb apparently is cool. But then if you bomb, that means no one likes you. So how do you do both those things at the same time? It seems paradoxical, but that's the world of rock and roll. Because here's the irony. Bomb too many times and suddenly you're no longer, quote, the bomb, end quote. You're just a series of unfortunate explosions. Apparently, to remain, quote, the bomb, end quote, you must never actually shoot your bomb load. Because once you do, you've bombed. And the movement and the moment you've bombed, you are officially no longer, quote, the bomb. See what I mean? You see the paradox here? It's kind of a problem because the problem is some people are afraid to really roll up their sleeves. Some people are afraid to really roll up their sleeves, man. Not me. In fact, I prefer to roll up my sleeves. Why? Because rolled up sleeves is where I store my backup bagel, freeing up my dominant hand for cream cheese operations and aggressive app swiping. So I tried to draw an image here or get AI to make an image of a bagel rolled up in the sleeve, kind of like a pack of cigarettes from like a 50s guy pack of cigarettes or something, or like Spicoli from, no one knows who that guy is anymore, but he used to have a bagel that he tucked in his belt or something. But this is all I could get. They couldn't get it. He's got 3 hands or 2 hands and he's got what is this bagel? I tried to regenerate the image like multiple times. So AI still has some work to do, but still, I think it's good. So anyways, let's see what Suno can do with a song on that masterful piece of satire or whatever you want to call it. I haven't heard this yet. I'll give you my critique. I'll put joke in Suno.
Being a rock star is a delicate thing. You gotta walk that wire while the spotlights sing. Be the bomb, yeah, light up the room. Just don't actually go kaboom. Cause irony's cruel and timing's tight. Bomb too much, you lose the fight. One too many awkward nights. Now you're not the bomb, just shrapnel and smoke in the lights. You gotta be the bomb, don't bomb. Hold the fire, keep it calm. If you blow it all at once, it's gone. Be the bomb, don't bomb. Yeah, be the spark, not the scorch. Don't burn down the torch you're holding on. Apparently, rules I didn't write. To stay explosive, you must never ignite. You can't deploy the whole payload fast, or you're instantly living in the post-blast past. Once you bomb, that's the rule of the land. You're no longer the bomb, you're a cautionary brand. The crowd just blinks, the echo's long. Congrats, my friend, you have bombed wrong. You gotta bomb, don't bomb. Save a little for the encore, come on. One bad drop and the magic's gone. Be the bomb, don't bomb. Yeah, ride that line, stay warm. Don't nuke the room, you're trying to charm. Now some folks are scared to roll up sleeves, like commitment might bite or responsibility leaves. Not me. I roll them up with pride, that's where I keep supplies on the inside.
bad, Suno. All right. That's AI slop, right? It's pretty good though. Still, I'm still kind of impressed. They're gonna. You can't support. Don't support the robots. I mean, what do you want? What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? You think I could have written that? For crying out loud. All right. Let me see. I'm on the Aeolian node. We did the third. We did the third. We're gonna count through it on 3 different positions. So I'm on fret with a collection of notes around the key of C. So if I put my pinky, I'm looking at the coordinate system of the 8 fret 8 1, meaning 8, and it's the Ionian under 8. That goes back to fret 5 6, meaning 5, and the Aeolian. This is what I would call the Aeolian shape, or shape number 1, going from frets, going from Aeolian to Aeolian would be 6. I'm not going to start at 1, right? 6 7 1 2 3 4 5 6. I'm looking at the second 6. Another way I can name that is to say it's on fret 7, the intersection between shape 1 and shape 2, meaning it's in between shape 1 and 2. So it's on fret 7, it's the Aeolian node between shape 1 and shape 2. There's only one of those, and that's going to be right there. It's right in the middle of the shape. So that's going to be, again, I think that's a little bit more specific. That you might be able to like explain things to yourself and others a little bit more cleanly. Like I can say exactly where it is relative to the shape, relative to the key that we're in, right? It's on fret 7 it's on the front of shape 1, back of shape 2. And it's the Aeolian. It's at the Aeolian, front of shape 1, back of shape 2. Right? And so then I can say, okay, well that's gonna be right in the middle of the shape. Aeolian to Aeolian, right in the middle of the shape. Boom, boom. So I could count it up. Here's Aeolian on the back of the shape. 6 6 7 1 2 3 4 5 6. Oh, there's Aeolian on the front of the shape, which means it's on the back of this shape, right? Okay. So then I'm going to say I'm doing a lean back shape. So we said the third was going to be back here from the perspective of the Aeolian. It's going to be 4 notes away, and then we said the 5th was up here. So that's going to be the 5th that we'll grab. We could also grab another 5th, of course, down here as well, if one wanted to think about it that way. Which I probably, but maybe I'll do that. Well, anyway, so now what's the next thing I want to do? Let's go to the 7. So we're going to add the 7 to it. So if it's 7 modal half steps up, that means it's -1. If it's 7 scale degree, -1 would be 6 modal half steps up from nodal point 6, but that would be the clockwise direction. If there's 7 points on the block, we want to go counterclockwise, so it would be 7 minus 6, which would be -1 counterclockwise direction. So if I'm on nodal point 6 and I go 1 modal half step back, I'd get to nodal point 5. So I'm looking for that, the nodal point 5. I have one back here, but that's not that useful. I don't really want to get this one up here because I'm most likely going to be leaning back on this shape. So if I'm on this shape, I could kind of grab this like this way, but the 5, the third is back, and then kind of grab that one. So that would kind of work, but more likely I'm thinking this one back here. And then if I go back there, it might be more useful to grab this 5th right there. So maybe something like that. Or maybe I drop that 5th and grab just the nodal point 5. In this particular position, I also have the open node, which is useful, which is also the 7th. So that means that nodal point 5 is going to be 3 modal whole steps. 3 times 2 is 6 modal half steps, plus 1 would be the 7th scale degree from nodal point number 6, Aeolian, always. And it has a distance away because it's a minor node that we're measuring from. And we know that if we want to land on that continent to another continent, and we're doing the 7, then the 7th, or the third modal whole step, 6th modal half step, that would be a distance of 10 notes away instead of 11 for all the minor nodes and the Mixolydian. I can count that out by saying there's 5 notes between the strings, and then 5 this way because we're crossing the fault line. That would be 10, and then 15. 15 is greater than 12, so I can bring it down to the local distance by saying it's 15 minus 12, 5 minus 2 is 3. So 3, 2, 1, 0. So now we're back to 0 here because this is the octave. And I can also go to 12, 12, 11, 10 as we go around the block. So I can kind of count it out from a local distance perspective. So that's one way that we could do it. Now, if I named this chord, if I was to grab all of those and think about the Aeolian as the tonic, it would be an A minor 7 chord. However, I would rather name it by nodal point, meaning it's a 4-note Aeolian chord, and I just take every other modal half step or every modal whole step to grab it, right? That's what I would call it, or an Aeolian 3 modal whole step chord, because the distance to the last node is 3 modal whole steps times 2 would be 6 modal half steps plus 1 would be the 7th scale degree, and you just take every other note in it, right? Okay, so that's how you do it. That's how you would name it if we named it like in a way that made sense. But that's not what we do. I know that's not what we do. That's not what that's not what people do, because no one's making any sense. No one's making any sense. That's the problem. And I want to make, okay. So I'm not going to be able to grab both those, I don't think. I'm going to have to drop the 5th. All right. So now I've got that, and then I'll mute that other string. So if I want to do it this way. If I get that Dorian, it'll be a second in there, major second, or I mute it. Well, if I get the Dorian, no, that'd be a 4th. So that might not be a bad. I can grab both those. Trying to think when you'd maneuver into that shape, because oftentimes I might not have my pinky on this tonic unless I'm doing like, unless I'm like noodling back like this, and then I can end it like that. More likely I'll have my ring finger, I'll end with my ring finger here sometime. And then I can pivot from my ring finger on there. So that's kind of an interesting maneuver, because then I'm doing something not off of the pointer finger. So I'm consciously saying, I'm going to wait till that ring finger touches down and then use that as my anchor. Okay, so that's good. All right, so let's do that same thing in this collection of notes. So now I'm thinking, now I have the 3rd has now been pushed up. This collection of notes, if this is now the Mixolydian, so if that's Mixolydian, it's like, okay, what shape am I in? So there's a couple ways I can do it. I've been counting up. I can also say, okay, well, where's the Mixolydian relative to the box shape, right? I mean, so the box shape on the Mixolydian, this Mixolydian is always above the box shape, and it's always to the right of the box shape, right? So if I start to see it that way, if I start to say, okay, well, if I want that to be the Mixolydian, and I want to identify it by where the box is, I could say, well, there's a box behind it. This is what I call the Ionian house over here. Mixolydian lives outside the Ionian house because they moved out because there's like, screw you, mixed major house. I don't want to live here no more because it has a minor, so it goes and hangs out with the minor Dorian mode and then the Aeolian, you know? So it moved out of the Ionian's house, the major house. So then, but it's across from the Locrian here. So if I know that behind it I have the box in the shape, that box is now from the top of the guitar 2 strings down. So what shape has the box like on the second 2 strings from the top of the guitar? That would be shape number 5. And shape number 5 is like the Mixolydian shape, right? Another way you can do it is I can say, well, if that middle is there, where's the tonic on the top string? So the tonic on the top string would be up here. Most people know that shape going down, like right, where's the tonic from here? Right there. So it's 1 down, up. So if I go up the other way, it's going to be 2 strings up and 2 frets back. And so if that's the tonic and that's node number 5, you might know your shapes by calling them which mode they're in. Meaning, if you named this from a caged system, you'd name this an Ionian A shape. If you named it just from a numbering system based on the first shape number 1 being the rock and roll shape, then this would be shape number 5. You might call it, though, the Mixolydian shape, because if you played it from the 5 to 5, from the top one in the shape, you'd be in Mixolydian, in essence, because you'd be playing from Mixolydian to Mixolydian. So it'd be 5, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So then you could count it up that way and say, okay, well, if this is shape number 5, and I say, well, where's shape number 1? Well, there's shape, if that's shape number 5, then this is going to be shape number 1 right here. All right, so then shape number 1 is going to be from fret 7, 6 is the 7 Aeolian, right? 7, 6, which is a B, and that goes to fret 10 Ionian, right? So if I count, this is the normal shape from 6 to 6, Aeolian to Aeolian is now here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Whoops, I'm sorry. 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 to 6. So this nodal point number 5 then is located on fret 7, 5, or fret 7 Mixolydian in the collection of notes around the Ionian major, which would be the D, right? Collection of notes around the D, but I'm on fret 7 modal point 5, or naming by shape, I'm on fret 7 between shape 5 and shape 1. I'm on fret 7 Mixolydian between shape 5, which is here, and then shape 1 is here. So that center point right there, that's that middle point. There's only going to be one Mixolydian basically in the middle of that point. And that gives us an idea to say, okay, well, if that's the middle point of the shape, then I can lean forward into shape number 1, or I can lean backwards into shape number 5. And we're basically kind of working on the lean back shape. So let's bring this 5th back here again. So this 5th would be what, back here, right? So we have a similar shape over here. I had to drop. The 5th would have been back. Wait a sec. I got messed up. Well, let me go back on over here. Might have messed that up. Let me see. It was a 2 up here. There's a 2 down here. Yeah, that's right, because the shift in the tuning. Okay, so that's going to be that. All right. So I want to grab the 7 now. So if I'm grabbing the 7 and I'm seeing it as Mixolydian, So now 7 minus 1 is 6. It's 6 modal half steps up from now nodal point number 5. If it's 6 modal half steps clockwise in a block that has 7 points on it, I could go counterclockwise to get to the same spot, 7 minus 6, or negative 1. So nodal point 5 minus 1 would be 4. So I'm looking for the mixolydian, the Lydian. Here's a Lydian down here in the shape as I go back this way. And so that means that nodal point number 4 is always 3 modal half steps up, which would be, 3 modal whole steps, which would be 6 modal half steps, plus 1 would be the 7th scale degree away from nodal point number 5, which would be the mixolydian. So the Lydian is always going to be 3 modal whole steps, 6 modal half steps, 7th scale degree away from node 5 mixolydian. It has a distance of a minor distance of 10 notes away instead of 11, because we're on the mixolydian node, and mixolydian moved out of the Ionian house because it had that bluesy feel on the minor 7. It's like, I'm out of here. I'm hanging with the minors, man. I'm over here in the minor with the Dorian and the Aeolian over here. So let's count. So if we count that out, of course, same distance, 5, and then 10 as we cross the fault line, 15. 15 minus 12 to get back to the local distance would be 5 minus 2, which would be 3, 2, 1, 0, meaning there's the octave again. And then I could also be 12 as we go around the block, 11, 10 notes away. All right, so that's going to be similar shape, but now, of course, we have leaning back. I'm in shape number 5, which I don't know the bottom of that shape as well, weirdly enough, even though I play in it all the time, because it's in like that open position when I played the other collection. So you have this shape here. So the box on this shape is behind it. So the box is up here. So if I have my pinky here when I'm leaning back, the box is back here. And then the third is right underneath it. And you get that perfect, almost perfect stack, but this one should be back here. Was I doing that right before? I feel like I was messing this one up. Was I reaching far enough back? I was doing... No, I think I was doing that right. Yeah. So now let's do... So if I'm over here... Let's remove this collection of notes. Mixolydian. Okay. So now I'm going to be here. So here's the box. Yeah, the minor is hard to play because this finger would have to move back to here. Yeah, so I'm just trying to get, I'm not used to playing that shape, that part of the shape in that area of the guitar much, so I could definitely use some practice there. But let's go to what would be the difference if I make this the Ionian node. So the Ionian node is going to be, if that's the Ionian node in the middle of the guitar, then what's going to be the difference? The 7 is not going to have a minor 7. This 4 is going to shift up here. The 4 is going to shift up. Or it's not going to be a 4 anymore. It'll be a 1, and then this will be the 7, which will shift up. So here it is. There it is. Boom. So now we've got a similar shape, but now we have this one that because it's right behind it. So if I think about, okay, well, what if I want to make this same shape like the Ionian now? So that A, I want it to be the Ionian. Where am I? Well, that means from the standpoint of the house, I'm at the top right of the box house. So now the box house is like right in the middle of the guitar, on the middle 2 strings, dead middle of the guitar. So what shape has the box house on the middle of the guitar? That's going to be leaning forward, shape number 3, which you might call a Dorian D shape. So here, I mean an Ionian E shape. Here's the Ionian, here's the D shape above it. So that means that I'm on a lean forward. If I'm leaning forward, I'm on the Ionian D shape, and if I'm leaning backwards, then I'm going to be, and what I would call that's shape number 3 from my perspective, or the D from a caged perspective. So that means going backwards, leaning backwards, I'm on shape number 2. So this is between shape number 2 and shape number 3. It's in this middle point between shape 2 and 3. So I could name that nodal point as fret 7I, fret 7 Ionian in the collection of notes around A major, or I can give it the coordinates. It's fret 7 and then the D string, it's the Ionian node, or I can say, hey, look, it's on fret 7 Ionian between shape 2 and shape 3. So right, it's in between. It's on fret 7, right between shape 2 and shape 3, right in the middle of the guitar on the D string, you know. And so then I can say, okay, so that node. So I'm trying to orientate myself and say, okay, well, that node is right there. So now I'm thinking, I would know this. I think most people would see this shape and say, well, I recognize the lean forward shape, right? Most people would say, okay, I can play this with my pointer on it, and then lean forward and say, okay, maybe I don't play it right here, but I'm like, oh, that's shape number 3. So like, okay, I kind of get that, but leaning backwards and making that like the pinky shape, and now I'm on the front end of shape number 2, right? I'm on the front end of shape number 2, which would be again, some people, you might know this shape well if you play in the Ionian a lot, because that's going to be the bar chord E, an Ionian E bar chord shape. So you might know, like if you were up here, you're like, oh, now I do a lean forward shape from the top string, and there's the tonic. I don't actually play an Ionian as much, so I'm a little wonky on both of them. All right, so that means, so if I count this out, I'm looking for the 7 from that perspective. So now the 7 is going to be 6 modal half steps up from the nodal point number 1, which I could just count up because I'm not going over 7, so it'd be 7 plus 1. Well, that would be, it's 6 from 1. 7 plus 6, 7 plus 1 would be 7. So I'm looking for nodal point number 7. Let's make this one down here. So I get to the same the same shape in terms of the chord, which would be an A major 7 chord, but I'd rather call it a 4-note Ionian chord or an Ionian 3 modal whole step chord, because it takes 3 modal whole steps to get to that last node, and therefore that tells me the context of this chord compared to the context of this chord, which is different. It's not exactly the same chord because it's not a minor 7, it's a major 7. So it'd be a C major, it'd be a D major 7 versus an A major 7 versus an A7. Okay, I'm getting out of whack. Anyway, that means that the nodal point number 7 is 3 modal whole steps, 3 times 2, 6 modal half steps plus 1, 7 scale degree away from modal point number 1, always, and it has a distance of 11 notes away, because it's a distance from a major node this time, the Ionian, and that's why we have a slightly different shape. So if I count it out, we're going to say, okay, 5 notes between the strings, 10 as we go up here, 15. I could bring that down to a local distance. 15 minus 12 is 5 minus 2, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. That brings me to the tonic, which could be 0 or 12, 12 back to 11. So it's 11 notes away. So now we have this shape. It's going to sound a little bit more wonky, I would suspect, because now it sounds all right, because you got this on the nice high register. But it's a little clashy right next to the 1. That versus what we had before with the minor 7. Alright, so if I think about that shape, I'm in shape number 2. Alright. We'll just noodle around for a bit. Turn the cajon. If I have it this way, I've radically turned it